You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. Welcome to Petco Park. My name's Nicholas Callis. The Milwaukee Brewers traveling to play the San Diego Padres. Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up next. And on the mound for the Padres is Garrett Richards. 8-5 in 20 starts this season with a .538 ERA and 97 innings pitched. He's a former pitcher with the Los Angeles Angels. Now pitching for the Padres from San Diego, just a different part of California. Here comes Eric Sogard, the leadoff hitter for the Brewers, and this game
the third baseman, number 7,
underway.
Sogard.
First pitch of the game is ball one outside. The count's 1-0. The Padres signed Garrett Richards in the 2018-2019 offseason, but he had an injury that prevented him from pitching in the entire 2019 season, so this is the first season he's on the mound with the Padres. He's a pretty decent pitcher with the Angels, and he's a part of the Padres' rebuilding attempt. So when they signed him, it wasn't necessarily to get production out of him right away. It's just a matter of having him in as the pieces continued to come together, like Manny Machado getting signed, Fernando Tatis Jr. being called up, other players developing. 2-ball, 1-strike count on Eric Sogard. Swing and a miss, counts 2-2. 97 on that last pitch from Garrett Richards. Strike 3. That pitch was right down the middle, and Sogard couldn't hit it. That's out number 1. Here comes Lorenzo CAIN, .298 hitter with 12 home runs and 38 RBIs. Entering play. So the Padres entering play, 51-47. They're 15 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers for first place. The Padres had the lead in the NL West going into May. The Dodgers took it from them around the second or third week of May, and then the Dodgers never let it up. Padres went on a cold streak in June, which caused them to fall to third place. They're behind the Diamondbacks. But the Dodgers are in first. The Diamondbacks are 14.5 games back of the Dodgers, and the Padres 15 games back. The Rockies and Giants have struggled this year. They're 4th and 5th in the NL West. Ground ball right side into right field, a base hit. That's a single for Lorenzo CAIN. The first hit of the game comes right in the first inning. And here comes Christian Yelich, .344 hitter with 23 home runs and 72 RBIs. Tied for 9th in the National League in home runs with 23. He leads the Brewers in home runs. Yelich also has the third best batting average in the National League at .344. It's outside, counts 1-0. Now the Brewers are in third in the NL Central. The Brewers have a record of 47-49. They're 9 games back of the Cardinals for first place. So as it looks at this point in time, neither of these teams likely to win their respective divisions. However, both of these teams are in contention for a wild card spot. The Diamondbacks are also part of the NL West. They're a half game back of the Braves, who have the second wild card spot right now. The Marlins have the first wild card spot. Then you have the Padres a game back of that second wild card spot and a half game back of the Diamondbacks in the wild card standings. The Padres are 1 game back of the Braves' second wild card spot. Then you have the Cubs, who are 49-48, also part of the NL Central. They're 2.5 games back of a wild card spot, and the Brewers are 47-49, 4 games back of that second wild card spot. So you've got 2 teams from the East, 2 teams from the West, and then 2 teams from the Central bidding for a wild card spot. Strikeout, and Mejia throws out CAIN, trying to steal second base. So the strike him out, throw him out double play ends the top of the first inning. No runs on 1 hit for the Brewers and nobody left on base. And on the mound for the Brewers is Freddie Peralta. He's been one of their bright spots in pitching this season. He is 7-4 in 19 starts, has a .359 ERA. in 95 and a third innings pitched. And leading off for the Padres is Fernando Tatis Jr. 307 average with 13 home runs and 45 RBIs. That 307 average is also good enough for best among the Padres hitters on the team. He takes strike one, as we already touched on. The Brewers 47 and 49, third in the NL Central. 4 games back of making a wild card appearance. Still a large amount of the season left to play. We're just getting into the second half of this season. This is game 2 of a 3-game series between these two. And the count's no balls and 2 strikes on Fernando Tatis Jr. The Padres won yesterday. It was a close game. 1-0 was the final score. Game 2 today, game 3 tomorrow. This game in its infancy. And Tatis Jr. strikes out on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball from Freddie Peralta.
Batting second, no left fielder.
So both Richards and Peralta have started their days out with strikeouts. And here comes the number 2 hitter in the order, Tommy Pham. 297 hitter with 13 home runs and 44 RBIs entering play. Pham, a former St. Louis Cardinal and Tampa Bay Ray. He got traded to the Padres this past offseason. Pham was acquired from the Rays, as that's a foul ball, counts 0-2. And the Rays got a few returns, most notably including Hunter Renfroe and
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Manuel Margot. Pham right now producing well. Pham and Renfroe are both outfielders, but they have 2 very different games. Pham more of a contact range kind of outfielder, and Renfroe more of a power hitting plus arm kind of outfielder. Pham strikes out there. Peralta just throwing fastballs by the first 2 hitters. And here comes the number 3 hitter and the $300 million man, Manny Machado. Foul ball, counts 0-1. Manny Machado batting .249 with 22 home runs and 67 RBIs. That's entering play. Also has an .826 OPS. Former Baltimore Oriole and Los Angeles Dodger. Played at second base by Hira. Throws to Smoke. That ends the first inning. So the Padres get no runs on no hits and leave no runners on base after 1 full inning. Still no score at Petco Park. We'll go to the second. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Middle of the order, due up for the Brewers in this half inning. Ryan Braun to lead off. He'll be followed by Keston Hiura and Justin Smoak.
That's the ball.
Braun takes ball 1. Braun, a former most valuable player in the National League. He won that award back in 2011. That's fouled off the count, 1-1. After a disappointing loss in the wild card game last season, the Milwaukee Brewers trying to get back and get some revenge in the National League. The Padres have gone a few seasons without making playoffs. They're trying to make it back altogether. The Padres look like they might be a division contender.
2-2 the count.
That was until the Dodgers had a very productive month of May and kept the lead while the Padres slowed down in June. Here Richards gets another strikeout. Ryan Braun down swinging. 3rd strikeout for Richards.
That is it.
First out in this second inning. Just elevated the fastball. Sometimes when a hitter's protecting and he gets a pitch up, the batter could see it well. However, reaching it is another story, and that's what happened with Braun there. He couldn't get high enough up to at least hit the ball, and that's why it's a good bait pitch. Keston Hiura, who has a 1.005 OPS entering play, is up to the plate.
1-1.
One of the Brewers' hottest, youngest players. He's a very talented hitter. Plays the second base position. Made his debut last season with the Brewers. earned himself a starting job this year, though he got injured early on in the year. But came back and went back to producing.
Nope, ball.
3 ball, 1 strike count on Hero with Justin Smoak on deck. 1 out top of the second, no score at Petco Park. That's ball 4, just a bit low. Garrett Richards is now allowed 2 base runners, 1 on a hit and this one on a walk.
The first baseman.
And here comes the switch hitting first baseman Justin Smoak. Smoak better average numbers against lefties, but against righties has better power and production numbers. 229 hitter overall, though, with 14 home runs and 49 RBIs. Smoak, a former Seattle Mariner and Toronto Blue Jay, made the All-Star team with the Blue Jays in 2017. Just signed with the Brewers this past offseason. The Brewers lost one of their infielders who plays third base to the Blue Jays this offseason as well. Travis Shaw decided to sign with the Blue Jays in this past offseason. And Justin Smoak, who became a free agent at the end of last year, decided to sign with the Brewers. So Shaw playing first base now for Toronto, and Smoak the starting first baseman for Milwaukee. That's foul. The count now 1-2. Keston Hero on first base. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Up high, counts 2-2. Garrett Richards throwing consistently in the high 90s entering plays. Hit 97 more often than not out of all of his fastballs. 2-2 pitch. Just a bit low, counts full 3-2. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Tried to get Smoak to bait a swing. Smoak did not take that bait though. Count full 3-2. Toward the middle, Tatis Jr. steps on second himself. Hero out at second. Throw to Hosmer, out at first to Smoak. And that's a double play. No runs, no hits, 1 walk in the inning, and nobody left on base after an inning and a half. No score at Petco Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Middle of the order due up for the Padres in this half inning. Eric Hosmer the first to bat, and he'll be followed by Will Myers and Jurickson Profar. Softly hit on the ground, Arcia plays. Throws to Smoak, and close play, but Hosmer out at first. So 1 out, bottom of the second inning, and that'll bring up Will Myers, who's been around this Padres team for a while. He's only played for 2 teams in his career. Tampa Bay Rays were the other team that he played for. Myers, a former Rookie of the Year, won it in the American League in 2013. Played for the Rays until the 2014-15 offseason when he got traded here to the Padres. The Padres are making several good moves, at least it looked like that on paper. The Padres had acquired Craig Kimbrell from the Braves. They also found a way to get Matt Kemp from the Dodgers that year.
1-0.
Will Myers was another one of those trades with the Rays that Padres thought that they were going to win on more than not. The Rays, however, made playoffs in the 2010s decade. Same can't be said for the Padres. Just a couple of meltdowns during the last few seasons. They've always had a good structure, and I mean, on paper they were great in 2015.
2-2.
But they struggled to get anything going with the players that they had, and the big names weren't working out too well with everybody else on the team, and they haven't made playoffs in a long time. Swing and a miss. Freddie Peralta gets the strikeout. 3rd strikeout for Freddie Peralta. And with 1 out, 2 outs now in the bottom of the second inning, Jurickson Profar comes to the plate. Profar, a utility man extraordinaire, but for the Padres, he's playing second base. He was acquired this past offseason. And there were question marks for a bit as to why the Padres signed Profar, who has a primary second base position. because Ian Kinsler was on the team. Kinsler decided to retire this past offseason, which allowed Profar to earn a starting job at second. So now you have Profar on the team. Also, Brian Dozier, former Minnesota Twin, now on the bench for the Padres, and he also has a platoon role at second base. A lot of veterans on this Padres team now and a lot of young talent. It's a team trying to claw its way into playoff contention. Same with the Brewers, for that matter. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Too high counts 2-2. So the top 2 teams on the wild card standings in the National League are 2 teams from the NL East, the Marlins and the Braves. Then the next 2 teams in the standings are from the NL West, the Diamondbacks and the Padres. And then 2 teams from the NL Central are below the 2 NL West teams, the Cubs and the Brewers. Freddie Peralta ends the second inning with 4 strikeouts. No runs, no hits, nobody left on for the Padres after 2 full innings. Still no score here at Petco Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. Brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 7, 8, 9 hitters do it for the Brewers in this half inning. Omar Narvaez, Orlando Arcia, and then Freddie Peralta in the pitcher spot. Narvaez made the All-Star game this season. Got to represent the Brewers. But that's a strike called 0-1. Narvaez is certainly having a breakout year. You see, he was acquired from the Mariners this past offseason. He's a former Chicago White Sox and Seattle Mariner, but doing well this year with the Brewers. It's up high, counts 2-1. Narvaez joined Christian Yelich at the All-Star game. Narvaez didn't start, but he did get in. That's out to right field, played by Will Myers. That's out number 1 in the top of the 3rd inning. So with that, Orlando Arcia will come to the plate. Arcia, .218 hitter with 7 home runs and 32 RBIs. He's more in the Brewers lineup as a defensive strength. He is an elite shortstop defensively. He's just struggled in recent years with offense. He never really got it going as an offensive player. Again, that's not really why he's in the lineup. So the Brewers had 3 All-Star representatives a few days ago. Christian Yelich, one of them, Omar Narvaez, the other, and LORENZO CAIN, the third. CAIN was the oldest player on the National League's All-Star roster, age 34.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Which I think, yeah, he was the oldest player out of anybody who made the All-Star game, both American League and National League. LORENZO CAIN at age 34. The Padres
3 balls, 1 strike.
had 2 representatives, Kirby Yates and Manny Machado. Machado, a big name. He made his 5th All-Star appearance. Kirby Yates, though, still kind of new to the All-Star appearing. This is his 2nd year making the All-Star game, his 2nd consecutive year. Kirby Yates, of course, one of the leaders in saves in the National League, so no question that he was going to make the team. He also earned the save at Dodger Stadium. There are walks leaders entering play for you, by the way, teams in the National League. Brewers, 4th best in walking, entering play. There's Freddie Peralta. The Brewers just got their first base runner off Garrett Richards. It was a walk issued to Orlando Arcia. Now Freddie Peralta in a sacrifice situation. He does show bunt. Popped up. Hosmer plays it, gets the out at second. He didn't catch the ball, he let it drop. Whether that was intentional or not, they get the lead runner at second base. This looked catchable at first, but now Hosmer didn't decide to dive for it, and because he's a left-hander, that's an easier throw to second base because he's already lined up with the bag and ready to throw. So they get Arcia out at second. Freddie Peralta reaches on what is scored a fielder's choice. And now Eric Sogard comes to the plate, the leadoff hitter for the Brewers. Sogard struck out back in inning number 1, batting for the 2nd time in this game, now in inning number 3. And he takes ball 1. Sogard, a former Oakland Athletic and Tampa Bay Ray. Now playing for the Brewers as a utility infielder, though he started most of his games at third base. So it's Sogard at third, here at second. Garcia at shortstop, and SMOAK at first base.
2-0.
The Brewers have some depth on their bench as well. They have a veteran in Jed Jorko who can still play many infield positions, though he's been limited to first in recent years. They also have Avisail Garcia, who was an extraordinary outfielder with the Rays last season, a former Chicago White Sox and Detroit Tiger as well. He's on their bench, along with Manny Pena, the backup catcher, and Brock Holt, an overall utility player. These two teams have a lot of similarities. Shaky pitching staffs, but they've shown potential so far this year. Lineups filled with veterans and a few young stars. And both teams in contention for a wild card spot, though still not one of the teams right now. Tatis Jr. flips to second. Profar records the force out of Freddie Peralta, and that ends the top of the third inning. No runs on, no hits, one walk in the inning, and one runner left on after 2.5 innings. It's still scoreless at Petco Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Bottom of the order, do it for the Padres in this half inning. Francisco Mejia, Juan Lagares, and Garrett Richards. Francisco Mejia is a switch-hitting catcher, batting from the left side in this plate appearance. He started the year off well, but has gotten cold recently, and you see his average is in the low 200s. He acquired from the Cleveland Indians in 2018.
1-1.
Ever since that point, he's been a top prospect for the Padres. He's played in the majors for a few seasons. He fouls that pitch off, counts 1-2. And Mejia right now, the regular starter over Austin Hedges, who's one of the best defensive catchers in the National League in recent years. But Hedges has struggled offensively. So Mejia's been in the lineup to be a strong offensive player, though his offensive numbers this year coming into the second half aren't too strong. It's fouled off, the count's still 1-2. Freddie Peralta was well under 30 pitches entering this half inning. And now he's about to reach 30. He's at 28. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Mejia, the catcher of the Padres. Strike three called at the top of the zone. 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Nips the letters, and it's out number one. So one out bottom of the third inning. Here's Juan Lagares. Better numbers overall against left-handers, but he's going to face a righty in this plate appearance. Overall, is a .280 hitter with 9 home runs. Juan Lagares signed with the Padres this past offseason. He's a former New York Met. Has also been known more for his defense than offense, but this season he's unconventionally doing well, which is just better for the Padres in general, as that pitch is fouled off. But Lagares, the everyday starter for the Padres ever since Franchi Cordero broke his hand a few days ago, and will be out for 1 to 2 months as Lagares swings and misses. That's out number 2, and Peralta at 6 strikeouts now. But Cordero typically started in center against righties because he's a left-handed hitter, and Lagares, a right-handed hitter, started when the lefty was on the mound. But because Cordero is now on the injured list, Juan Lagares is the everyday center fielder for the Padres. Garrett Richards falls behind quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Padres have had a few injuries so far this year. Kyle Blariclaw was another big name that got hurt. He had a head fracture well earlier in the season, and he'll be out until 2021. Richards strikes out, and Freddie Peralta has struck out 7 through 3 innings on the mound. No runs, no hits, nobody left on for the Padres after 3 full innings. No score here at Petco Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. This game and all of our games brought to you by MLB The Show 20. 2-3-4 hitters due up for the Brewers in this half inning. Lorenzo, CAIN, Christian Yelich, and Ryan Braun. CAIN got the first and only hit for either team in this game so far, and on the first pitch of this at-bat, he pops up and pops out to Francisco Mejia. One out, top of the fourth. Here comes Christian Yelich. Yelich struck out back in the first inning. Dropped his average down to 343, though he still has an OPS above 1,000. He's at a 1.115 OPS so far this year. One of the top OPSs in the National League. That gets through the infield. Yelich was being shifted, but it still finds a way to reach the outfield on the ground. Watch this. Sharp grounder toward the middle. And found some space. Tatis Jr. might have had a play, just couldn't get his glove down in enough time. That will go down as a base hit. Now here's Ryan Braun. So the Brewers have back-to-back MVPs, former MVPs, in the lineup. Yelich, the MVP from 2018 in the National League. Ryan Braun, the MVP from 2011. This Brewers team filled with big names. It's been a disappointing few years for them, though.
One ball, no strike.
In 2018, they took the Los Angeles Dodgers to 7 games. And then they ended up losing that Game 7 of the NLCS.
No.
And Richards is really paying attention to Yelich over there at first. But they won the NL Central, which was a fight to begin with. They had to play a tiebreaker against the Cubs that year. Won the tiebreaker, won the division, beat the Rockies in the DS, and then played the Dodgers in the NLCS, lost in 7 games.
2-1.
And in 2019, they were fighting with the Cardinals for first place. The Cardinals ended up winning the NL Central. The Brewers got the second wild card spot. As the runner goes, Mejia's throw from his knees is off the bag, and safely into second is Christian Yelich. So, seems all those pickoff attempts were warranted, but Yelich gets aggressive and takes the bag anyway. So he's in scoring position now with 1 out. Then the Brewers in 2019, again, they were the second wild card team. So they played on the road against the Nationals, and of course, ended up losing on a big error by Trent Grisham in the outfield as Braun strikes out for out number 2 in this half inning. And ironically enough, Trent Grisham ended up getting traded from the Brewers to the Padres, and Trent Grisham is on the bench for the Padres right now. Here's Keston Hiura, takes ball 1 inside. He walked in his first plate appearance. But the Brewers trying to stay relevant as a team. It was a disappointing wild card loss last year, but right now they're in jeopardy of not making playoffs at all. Cardinals right now are dominating the NL Central. The Cubs have found their way back. They have an over 500 winning percentage, but the bottom 3 teams in the NL Central have a winning percentage under 500. The Brewers, who are in 3rd, the Reds in 4th, and the Pirates in 5th. Two ball, 1 strike count. Strike 2 called. Counts even 2-2. Yelich is the first runner to get in scoring position in this game so far. He's on second with 2 outs. Full count on Hiura, 3-2. Justin SMOAK waiting in the on-deck circle. Strike 3 called. Garrett Richards and Freddie Peralta are lighting up the strikeouts right now. Richards ends the top of the fourth with a strikeout. No runs on one hit and one runner left in scoring position. After 3.5 innings, still no score at Petco Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Top of the order due up for the Padres in this half inning. Fernando Tatis Jr., Tommy Pham, and Manny Machado. Freddie Peralta, under 40 pitches entering this fourth inning, has given up one base runner so far in this game. Strike two called. That pitch was left well up in the zone, right over the middle. Peralta gets away with it, and on 0-2 induces a ground ball. Sogard to Smoke. That's out number one.
Now batting, left fielder.
So that'll bring up Tommy Pham. Pham is 0 for 1 against Peralta. 297 hitter now, also has an OBP of 371 and an OPS of 848. He's done a tremendous job in the Padres outfield and has done well offensively at the top of the order as well. Grounds out there on one pitch though. Arcia made that play. 2 outs, bottom of the fourth inning, and that'll bring up the number 3 hitter, Manny Machado. Machado 0 for 1. He grounded out back in inning number 1. Peralta's 40th pitch coming. He takes strike 1. Machado takes strike 1. Machado in the 2018-2019 offseason signed the second largest contract in Major League Baseball history for a free agent, which actually might be the third largest now, with Garrett Cole signing a 9-year, $324 million contract. But Machado signed a deal with the Padres worth $300 million over 10 years. And of course, Bryce Harper has the largest free agent signing in Major League Baseball history by signing a 13-year, $330 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. And then you have the biggest contract in sports history going to Mike Trout, who signed a 13-year, $430 million contract extension with the Los Angeles Angels. Another strikeout for Freddie Peralta. Man, he's lighting up the strike zone right now. 4 scoreless innings pitched by Peralta. Also 4 scoreless innings from Garrett Richards. Here comes inning number 5. No score at Petco Park. And as we return, after that very brief intermission, Heidi Watney has some news for us that she's not willing to share with me, which is totally fine. But the top of the 5th, rolling around, and the 6, 7, 8 hitters in the order for the Brewers are coming up. Justin Smoak, Omar Narvaez, and Orlando Arcia. Garrett Richards made it through 4 scoreless innings. Here he comes now in inning number 5. He's let up 3 base runners, 2 on hits and 1 on a walk. You see Drew Pomeranz warming up now for the Padres. Pomeranz, once upon a time, pitched for the Brewers. He was in their bullpen as a long relief pitcher. Pomeranz also a World Series champion with the Boston Red Sox of 2018. And Smoak gets the 3rd hit for the Brewers in this game. He's the 4th base runner now. Gets himself a leadoff single, and he hits it through the shift. I've seen so many times this season where hitters have beaten the shift. And just like Smoak's hit there, several of them have gone through the middle of the field and just to a part of the field where like a fielder wasn't able to make the play, or like where the second baseman and shortstop had to converge. It was hit so perfectly, and neither of them could make the play. I mean, several players have hit the ball through the middle of the field, and it's not like a majority of the time hitters just take the ball the other way to beat the shift. Sometimes it goes right through the shift, which has baffled me. But it's happened more often than not. Smoke runs. Narvaez swings and misses. And Mejia throws to Tatis Jr. The tag applied successfully and in time. That's out number 1, so the leadoff base runner erased. That looked like a hit and run. with Navarez swinging and SMOAK not being a plus runner. But nobody on base. Navarez down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch coming. That's fouled off. The count's still 1-2. Still no score at Petco Park. This is game 2 of a 3-game series between these two teams. In the dirt, but he chased it. Mejia will have to complete the strikeout by throwing to first. From Mejia to Hosmer. Navarez out at first base. Now 2 outs. Top of the 5th, here's Orlando Arcia. Arcia walked in his first plate appearance, so I need to correct myself. 5 base runners have reached for the Brewers in this one. 2 on walks, 3 on hits. But the most important statistic right now is that the Brewers have no runs on the board. At least it's important for the Padres' sake. Even count, 1-1 on the Brewers shortstop.
2-1.
And he almost chased that pitch, but home plate umpire said he didn't go around, and there's no appeal, so the count's 2-1. 2 ball, 1 strike count, 2 outs, top of the 5th, bases empty, no score between the Brewers and the Padres. Just a bit outside, counts 3-1. The pitcher for the Brewers, Freddie Peralta, would bat next.
Yeah.
Strike 2. Well-placed pitch by Garrett Richards. That runs the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Nope, that's ball 4. Runner taking base.
Holy smokes, that's ball 4. Almost hit him in the head. Arcia not too happy with that. And the bat's levitating. Holy smokes. The bat was levitating at home plate. I've never seen anything like that.
The pitcher, Freddie
2 outs, top of the 5th. Here comes Freddie Peralta. Peralta unsuccessfully laid down a bunt in his last at bat. He's trying to sacrifice Arcia over to second. But Hosmer, the first baseman, got the lead runner, Arcia, at second base. So Peralta ended up beating out the back end, but it went down as a fielder's choice.
Hee-haw.
Counts 1-1. That's popped into the air toward right field. Will Myers makes the catch, and the top of the 5th inning is over. No runs on no hits, 1 walk in the inning, and 1 runner left on base. We're about halfway through this one, and still no score. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Still no score at Petco Park. Padres about to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning. And it'll be their middle of the order coming up.
leading up for the Padres.
Here's Eric Hosmer, the number 4 hitter. He's 0 for 1. He grounded out back in the 2nd inning. Freddie Peralta still on the mound, throwing efficiently, and he has several strikeouts. He's getting close to 10. Ball 1 outside on Hosmer. Hosmer, a former Kansas City Royal, signed with the Padres in the 2017-2018 offseason. Won a World Series championship with the Royals in 2015. He was their franchise first baseman. The Royals kind of fell apart because many of their players, many of their faces of that team in 2015 that won the World Series left in free agency.
1-2.
They've had to rebuild from the ground up since 2018. A couple players have stuck around. Alex Gordon and Salvador Perez being a couple, but everyone else pretty much a new face on that Royals team. 9 strikeouts now for Freddie Peralta. Breaking ball well placed. Hosmer didn't quite agree with it. Let's see what you think. That's where it crossed the plate. Well, 1 out, bottom of the 5th, and here's Will Myers. And strike 1. Will Myers 0 for 1, like so many others. He struck out. Was back in the 2nd inning. Freddie Peralta has so far led up just one base runner to this point. It was on a walk.
0-2.
And then that runner was immediately erased on a double play.
1-2.
Counts 1-2. Peralta at 52 pitches with one out in the bottom of the fifth. Swing and a miss. Freddie Peralta has struck out 10 Padres. Two outs, bottom of the fifth. On the first three innings, the first time around that he faced the Padres, he was dominating with his fastball. Now it seems in the fourth and the fifth that he's been using his off-speed pitches, placing them well with 2 strike counts. So now 2 outs, bottom of the fifth. There's Jurickson Profar, who's also struck out back in inning number 2. Pop foul, and it's now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Profar over his last 7 games has hit a couple home runs. Of course, a few of those games were before the All-Star break, so these two teams had 4 days off from July 13th to July 16th. 1-ball, 2-strike count. That's inside.
2-2.
Counts 2-2. These two resumed play yesterday. The Padres won by a 1-0 score. Right now it's a close game in game 2. No score, bottom of the fifth. In the dirt. Counts full 3-2. Francisco Mejia would bat next. He's the one on deck. He missed. Ball 4. Second base runner to reach for the Padres. 2 walks issued by Peralta. Padres have a 2-out base runner as their number 7 hitter comes to the plate, Francisco Mejia. I mean, when you strike out 10 through 5 innings, it seems like a lot of the players coming up have struck out in previous at-bat, in their first at-bats. Francisco Mejia, no exception. That pitch misses inside. Mejia, in yesterday's win, went 0-for-3, struck out a couple times. Ground ball right side. Hero plays, throws to Smoke, and that ends the 5th inning. So the Padres get no runs on no hits. There was 1 walk in the inning, and 1 runner left on base. 5 innings completed here at Petco Park. Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn, one of the best to ever play baseball. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Top of the order due up with the Brewers in this half inning. Eric Sogard, Lorenzo Cain, and Christian Yelich.
1-0.
That misses, counts 1-0. A couple of lefties now warming up in the Padres bullpen, and they're in sync. Jose Castillo and Matt Strom. Drew Pomeranz was warming up a bit earlier, but evidently he has sat down. Counts 1-1 on Sogard.
1-1.
Garrett Richards has given up 3 hits to this point. Walked a couple batters as well, but he's been pretty sharp.
That hit him.
And right as I say that, jinx, as Eric Sogard gets hit by a rogue fastball. The leadoff runner on for the Brewers. And here comes Lorenzo Cain as Jose Castillo sat down. Cain giving it to Mejia a bit, but umpire stands in the way. And that's something about hitters. I've mentioned this before, and it may be obvious to some, but with the fastball coming at high speeds towards your head, it's not favorable for hitters. Profar to Tatis Jr. over to Hosmer. That's a double play. Leadoff runner erased. Sogard out at second. Cain out at first. Cain 1 for 3 now after grounding into that double play. And with 2 outs Nobody on base. Top of the 6th. Christian Yelich comes up to bat. He's 1 for 2. He singled back in the 4th inning, getting his 3rd plate appearance of the game in here. But yeah, batters don't like pitches coming up toward their head. And even if it's by mistake, hitters still have high expectations of pitchers to not miss up in that location, just because it's so dangerous. Of course, the head is valuable, and I don't have to tell anybody that, really, but even though that wasn't intentional, Sogard a bit upset. Counts 2-0 on Yelich. But the dust is settled. Base is empty. 2 outs. Yelich on the ground into the shift. Played by Profar. Throws to Hosmer. And the top of the 6th inning has come to an end. No runs, no hits. 1 hit by pitch in the inning, but nobody left on base. After 5.5 innings, still no score here at Petco Park.
Leading up for the Padres.
You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 8-9-1 hitters due up for the Padres in this half inning. Juan Lagares, the leadoff batter, grounds to Keston Hiura, throws to Justin SMOAK. 1 pitch, 1 out, starts the bottom of the 6th. And with that, the number 9 hitter in the order will come to the plate for the Padres. But it is the pitcher spot, so we'll see if any moves get made here. Well, Garrett Richards will bat. It's not like he shouldn't. He's pitching a 3-hit performance right now and hasn't given up a run yet. Counts 1-0. Garrett Richards, as mentioned previously, signed in free agency in the 2018-19 offseason. And he grounds out quickly. Out number 2 in the bottom of the 6th.
Now batting, shortstop, Fernando Tatis.
So 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, and here's Fernando Tatis Jr. Tatis Jr. has struck out and grounded out so far. One of the many strikeout victims of Freddie Peralta. Peralta struck out 10 to this point. And he's really been sharp. Was allowed just 2 base runners on walks so far. Down low, counts 2-0. Hitters count on Tatis Jr. 2-ball, no strike count. There's a fly ball. Out toward the right field corner, and the catch made by Christian Yelich. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base for the Padres. 6 full innings have been completed. Still no score at Petco Park. Here comes inning number 7, middle of the order, due up for the Brewers in this half inning. Ryan Braun, Keston Hiura, and Justin SMOAK. Ryan Braun has struck out twice. Average has dropped now to 294. And he leads off the 7th inning. It's scoreless. It was a close game yesterday between these two as well. It was 1-0 yesterday. The Padres won. This is game 2 of a 3-game series. 0-1 count. Outside, counts 1-1. Ryan Braun, a former most valuable player, also a former Silver Slugger Award winner for outfielders.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
He started his career as a third baseman, first played for the Brewers in 2007. But since was transitioned to the outfield, where he's made himself known, not as an infield presence, but as an outfield presence. As he's aged, he's gotten less valuable as a defensive outfielder, but has always been a great offensive player. Good hitter. Strikes out there, though, against Garrett Richards. That's out number 1 on the top of the 7th. And now here's Keston Hiura. Hiura reached base once on a walk. That was in his first plate appearance. He's 0 for 1 officially. Counts no balls and 1 strike on the Brewers' second baseman. And a young second baseman at that. Hero made his debut last season with the Brewers. Played so well that he got the starting job at second base this season. Got injured, but came right back into the lineup after his injury and picked up right where he left off. He's likely to be a member of the Brewers for years to come. The Brewers trying to reshape their team now. I mean, they've had a couple successful years in the past, but they're looking for influential players to push them into the postseason again, and deep into the postseason. In the 2010s decade, his hero walked for the second time, but in the 2010s decade, the Brewers just one time made it to, or twice, just 2 times made it to a championship series. Once in 2011, lost to the Cardinals, and the other time in 2018, they lost to the Dodgers. Well, there's Garrett Richards walking off the field. He's being taken out, and the bullpen will now take over in this game. Garrett Richards pitched 6+ innings. Gave up no earned runs, though here is still his responsibility on first base, so the book not officially closed on him yet. But here's Luis Perdomo making his 61st appearance of the year. And with 1 out in the top of the 7th, Perdomo will first face Justin SMOAK. SMOAK, a switch hitter batting from the left side, takes ball 1.
1 ball, no strike.
Well, SMOAK at 997 career hits. 1 for 2 in this game.
No, that missed. That's a ball. 2 balls, no strike.
2 ball, no strike count. It's fouled off the count 2-1. So, more specifically, Garrett Richards pitched 6 1/3 innings. And no earned runs to this point. But again, Hura is his responsibility on first base, so can't close his line score yet. Count even 2-2. But we've been treated to some great pitching performances so far in this game from both Freddie Peralta and Garrett Richards. But Richards blinked first by giving up the first hit of the game. Allowed a few base runners, 6 to be exact. 3 on walks, 3 on hits. And he's the first to be taken out. Perdomo working on the mound now for the Padres has Justin SMOAK in an even count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That misses inside. And Mejia couldn't get a glove on it. And that's not good. Luis Perdomo is hurt. So, I'll correct my statement. Francisco Mejia did get a glove on it, but it was hard for him to see. It was a breaking ball that missed inside. So Mejia got his glove on it, but he couldn't catch the ball. So it squirted away from him. And that allowed Hura to advance from first to second. So the official score on that is a passed ball. But that's a tough play for Mejia to make with the batter blinding him as the ball broke inward. Now pitching for the Padres, Javi Guerra. So this is one of those rare situations where if a player is injured, then a new pitcher can come in. Perdomo didn't even face 1 full batter. So it's a 3-2 count on Justin SMOAK. Perdomo threw enough pitches to induce a full count. And Guerra on the first pitch of his outing issues a walk. Runners on first and second with 1 out. So the new rule in baseball is that a pitcher must throw to a minimum of 3 batters in a half inning or record the final out of that half inning to be subject to replacement. But in this situation, Luis Perdomo had an injury that forced him out of the game, so the Padres were allowed to bring in a new pitcher sooner. Actually, in even the circumstances of the rules before, Perdomo couldn't get taken out of the game until he faced at least one batter. So he didn't even face a full batter before getting taken out, which makes that an even more unique situation. You don't see that every day. So Javi Guerra, the third pitcher to take the mound for the Padres. Garrett Richards got taken out after getting Ryan Braun out to start this top of the 7th inning. He walked Hura, who's now on second. And Luis Perdomo got put in the game. Perdomo worked a full count on Justin Smoak, and he spun off a 3-2 slider too far. And it hurt his arm, so he got taken out. Count was full. Javi Guerra came in and on one pitch walked Justin Smoak, who's now on first. And now Omar Narvaez walks on 4 pitches. Javi Guerra has thrown 5 straight balls to start his outing. That's a tough call there on 3-0. So sometimes umpires give a pitcher the benefit of the doubt. They're giving him a 3-0 call, but in that case, the umpire squeezed him a bit. Didn't give him that lower inside corner, so bases loaded now with 1 out. Golden opportunity, runners go. Arcia bunts. Jurickson Profar throws to Hosmer. Arcia out at first base, but that's a run batted in for the Brewers shortstop. A risky play. That was a suicide squeeze. All runners were moving. Hura scores from third. Justin Smoak moves from second to third, and Narvaez moves from first to second. Arcia out at first, but he gets himself a risky RBI, but a run batted in nonetheless. A little frustrated with himself, too. He wanted to beat that out. Couldn't do it. But the important part for the Brewers is that they've scored a run. So, 1-0 score. 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position, and Freddie Peralta is still on the mound. Again, the Padres won by just 1 run yesterday. It was a 1-0 score. Now it's 1-0 here in the top of the 7th. That flared out toward right. That's going to fall. Base hit. Throw is offline, and now Peralta going to try to go to second. Oh, what a weird play that was. My goodness. Okay, so on that play, Freddie Peralta helps himself out by getting 2 RBIs. Smoak scored from third, Narvaez scored from second, and then Peralta tried to extend it to extra bases, which was unsuccessful. But after 6.5 innings, it's a 3-0 Brewers lead. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 2, 3, 4 hitters due up for the Padres in this half inning. Tommy Pham, Manny Machado, and Eric Hosmer. Pham 0 for 2. And that pitch is walloped toward left field. Back goes Braun to the wall. That ball is gone. Tommy Pham ends the no-hitter and prevents the shutout. It's a 3-1 score. Peralta helped himself out, though, in the top of this 7th inning by getting a 2 RBI single. So the Brewers still have the lead, but a no-hitter will not be accomplished by Freddie Peralta tonight. He's still going to pitch, though. He just threw his 70th pitch. And he's in the 7th inning, so he could very well still throw a complete game, provided that he stays efficient with his pitch count. But Tommy Pham leads off the bottom of the 7th with a home run. The 3rd runner to reach base for the Padres in this game. Peralta had walked 2 previously. But that home run, again, ends the no-hit bid for Freddie Peralta and ends the shutout. And now that's ripped well into right center field. Machado should have extra bases. He's headed for second. Lagares plays it and gets it in quickly. That's a double with no outs for Manny Machado. So back-to-back hits off Freddie Peralta give the Padres a run and put a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Now Craig Counsell might be getting that bullpen started soon. Peralta's been throwing well, but that was good contact made off of him in those last two at-bats. And there is the father, the Padre. These fans getting excited. That pitch is hit well foul. Hosmer out in front of that fastball. The count's 0-1. And it seems Peralta's pitches are flattening out, too. Hitters are seeing them a bit better. Down low, counts 1-1. Hosmer right now represents the tying run at the plate.
2-1.
The Brewers got all three of their runs in the top of the seventh. Orlando Arcia, with the bases loaded, executed a bunt, which was a suicide squeeze play. Got thrown out at first, but a run came in to score for the Brewers. Made it 1-0. Then with two runners in scoring position, Freddie Peralta, this very pitcher, hit a soft line drive into right field that fell, that allowed both runners in scoring position to score and made it 3-0. Now in this bottom of the seventh inning, Tommy Pham led off with a solo home run. Manny Machado followed that with a double, and here's Eric Hosmer now taking his free base. He just walked. So nobody out, runners on first and second, which means that now the potential tying run is at first base, still in the form of Eric Hosmer. And with that, Craig Counsell will take the ball from Freddie Peralta. Peralta made it 6+ innings, had 6 no-hit innings, struck out 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
And the Brewers
Now pitching for Milwaukee.
call upon J.P. Fireeisen to pitch, making his 54th appearance of the season. Has a 6.52 ERA and 49 2/3 innings pitched. Freddie Peralta is responsible for Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer on base. So his scoreline not officially closed yet. Will Myers up now, the number 5 hitter in the Padres order. He's 0 for 2. Takes ball 1 inside. But the Brewers in some trouble now. The Padres have an opportunity to score here with 2 on and nobody out. 1 ball, no strike pitch. Just a bit outside, counts 2-0. This game was progressing quickly. Both Garrett Richards and Freddie Peralta were matching each other pitch for pitch. Both have gotten taken out in the 7th inning, and both have given up at least 1 run. That's fouled off, count 2-1. Yeah, this 7th inning has seen some traffic on the base paths. 2-1 pitch from Fireeisen. Inside, counts 2-2. J.P. Fireeisen was the Rookie of the Month back in April in the National League. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Fly ball, left center field. CAIN on the run. He makes the catch. So 1 out recorded in this bottom of the 7th inning. Will Myers is the victim of that out. And here comes the number 6 hitter now in the Padres order, Jurickson Profar. Still a golden opportunity to score, just with 1 more out on the board. 1 out, runners at first and second. Machado on second, he doubled. Eric Hosmer on first, he walked. Tommy Pham started this half inning off with a solo home run. 3-1 score. Profar, a switch hitter, batting from the left side. He takes strike 1. This is game 2 of a 3-game series between these two teams. Padres won yesterday by a 1-0 score. Brewers took the lead in the top of the 7th, but they're in danger of immediately giving it up. 2-run game. And we're getting into the later third of this one. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Jurickson Profar, a former Texas Ranger and Oakland Athletic, in his first season with the Padres. 1-1 pitch. Grounded right side, foul. Count 1-2, and you saw Smoke over there at first base. He's not playing toward the line. He's more out into the open space around first and second base. Ball could sneak through inside that first base bag if Profar can pull one down that way. 2-ball, 2-strike count on the starting second baseman for the Padres. Here's Feireisen's pitch. Out of right side again and foul. You see how far Smoke's playing away from the line. Not that he shouldn't be playing close to the line, but there's a lot of space between Smoke and the first base bag and that entire line. High fly ball. Deep into right. Christian Yelich back. He makes the catch. Machado tags at second but doesn't try to advance. And Hosmer retreats back to first. So there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. So 2 outs bottom of the 7th. Francisco Mejia, the switch hitting catcher, will come to the plate. And between yesterday and today, he has no hits. Struck out and grounded out in this game. Like so many hitters in this Padres lineup, he was a strikeout victim of Freddie Peralta. Peralta struck out 10 batters as that's hit well to right and foul. The count 0-1. Had the distance to go all the way, though, but didn't hit it in bounds. So no ball, 1-strike count. Just a bit outside, counts 1-1.
1-1.
Machado and Hosmer still the responsibility of Freddie Peralta. So again, the book not officially closed on him yet. Just 1 earned run through 6+ innings so far. Fly ball into left. Ryan Braun seems to have the play, and he makes it. Bottom of the 7th inning has come to an end, but Tommy Pham ended the no-hit bid and the shutout being thrown by Freddie Peralta, and Peralta got chased from the game in that bottom of the 7th inning. It's a 3-1 score going into the 8th. Well, there's the Padres manager coming out and talking to the home plate umpire, which likely indicates a double switch. So go ahead and listen, and let's see what it is.
The changes for San Diego. Now pitching and batting in the 7th. Number 55, Matt Braun. Now catching and batting 9. Number 18, Austin.
So the top of the order due up for the Brewers in this half inning. Eric Sogard, Lorenzo Cain, and Christian Yelich. But here's the double switch that took place for the Padres. Matt Strahm now in the game. He'll face 2 lefties in the first 3 hitters that will bat for the Brewers. So this a move because he's required to face a minimum of 3 batters before being allowed to get changed out for a new pitcher. But the double switch saw Austin Hedges come into the game. Hedges now batting in the number 9 spot and doing the catching. Francisco Mejia got taken out of the game for Matt Strahm, and the pitcher spot has moved to 7th in the order. 1-ball, 2-strike count. Popped up and foul. The count still 1-2. The Brewers scored all 3 of their runs in the top of the 7th inning. They got a suicide squeeze. RBI from Orlando Arcia, and then Freddie Peralta, the pitcher, hit a 2-out RBI single that drove in a couple more runs. Then Tommy Pham homered in the bottom of the 7th to make it 3-1.
2-2.
But the Brewers leading this one late. Nobody out, top of the 8th inning, bases empty. And the Brewers leading this one 3-1. Matt Strahm just got put in the game. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Sogard. Almost went after it, but no swing. Counts full 3-2. Three-ball, 2-strike count on Sogard, the starting third baseman for the Brewers. And he takes outside. That's ball 4. Leadoff base runner on for the Brew Crew in the 8th inning.
The center fielder, number 6, Lorenzo.
So the number 2 hitter in the order and the number 2 hitter of this half inning coming to the plate, Lorenzo Cain. Cain singled back in the first inning. Has 2 hits now in the whole series. This is game 2 of a 3-game series between these two. Game 3's tomorrow. The Padres also won yesterday by a 1-0 score. They trail by 2 in this game. And Cain takes strike 1. Cain is 1 for 5 off Matt Strahm in his career. Strahm is a failed starter of the Padres. He's been pitching more out of the bullpen last season than this year, but he had hopes of being in the Padres starting rotation, but Hasn't done well enough to sustain that, so now he's a bullpen arm.
That's the ball.
Hasn't done too poorly out of the bullpen.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Been a reliable arm for the Padres this entire season. And their entire bullpen capped off by one of the greatest closers in recent history, Kirby Yates. The Brewers have a dangerous back end of their bullpen as well. They have Josh Hader and Corey Knebel. Soft liner caught by Fernando Tatis Jr. 1 out, top of the 8th.
Now batting.
And Sogard stays on first base.
Christian Yelich.
So with 1 out in the top of the 8th inning, Christian Yelich will come to the plate. Yelich singled back in the 4th inning for his first and only hit of this game so far, 1 for 3 officially. Still qualifies for the 3rd best National League batting average, and he still leads the Brewers in batting average. Still one of baseball's best. Was always a solid player with the Marlins. Played there from 2013 up until 2017. Got traded from the Marlins to the Brewers in the 2017-2018 offseason, and in his first full season with the Brewers, he won the National League Most Valuable Player Award in 2018. No ball, 2 strike count. Down low, counts 1 and 2. But he broke out in 2018, and he's been the centerpiece in their order ever since. Developed a sense of power. Still a great defender, playing right field consistently. Tatis Jr. to Profar to Hosmer, double play. Out at second, Sogard, and out at first, Yelich. After 7.5 innings, it's a 3-1 Brewers lead.
Now pitching for the Brewers.
And here comes David Phelps out of the bullpen for the Brewers, making his 34th appearance of the season. In 26 2/3 innings pitched, he has a 5.74 ERA. Phelps has been around a few teams in his career. He started with the Yankees and then
The center fielder.
has bounced around, but has now found himself on the Brewers.
That's the ball. 1 ball, no strike.
And there you see there that elite back end of the bullpen for the Brewers now throwing. Josh Hader on the right and Corey Knebel on the left. 1 ball, no strike count. Juan Lagares at the plate, leading off this half inning for the Padres.
No, that missed. That's the ball.
Padres trailing by 2. Both teams got their runs in the 7th inning. The Brewers scored 3 on a suicide squeeze and a 2 RBI single. The Padres got their run on a solo homer from Tommy Pham. Two ball, 1 strike count on the center fielder for the Padres. A little bit low, counts 3 and 1. Austin Hedges is on deck. Hedges has not batted yet. He got put in as a part of a double switch in the top of the 8th, I should say. Counts full 3 and 2.
Count full.
Padres were no hit through 6 innings, and Freddie Peralta gave up a homer, a double, and a walk, which chased him from the game. It's a base hit into center field. Juan Lagares leads off the bottom of the 8th with a single, and that allows the potential tying run to come to the plate for the Padres. And pitch leaked over the middle of the plate. Lagares has done well this year at just putting the bat on the ball and making solid contact. That one goes straight up the middle, and he's on board with a hit. Now here's Austin Hedges, one of the better defensive catchers in recent history. Though he's been clouded by the Padres' success rate over the last few years. Again, the Padres haven't made playoffs in a while. They're close to making playoffs this season. They're a game out of the second wild card spot right now. The Marlins and Braves are the 1 and 2 teams for the wild card right now. Lagares' throw is not in time. Lagares slid around the tag, and that will officially go down as a wild pitch on David Phelps. So Lagares in scoring position. Take a look at that again. Ooh, it nipped the top of his glove. Allowed it to bounce out a bit there. Navarez couldn't get it in enough time, and Lagares quick enough to swipe second base. So Lagares now in scoring position. 1-1 count on Hedges. Pop up. Let's foul the count 1-2. But Hedges in the game now as part of a double switch that was initiated in the top of the 8th. Hedges batting in the number 9 spot. Francisco Mejia got taken out, and Matt Strom got put in the game in the number 7 spot, where the pitcher spot right now resides. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Swing and a miss. Got him with a high breaking ball. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. And here comes the top of the order for the Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. Tatis Jr. 0 for 3 at the top of the order in this game. And his last at bat, he flew out. David Phelps required to face one more hitter before being allowed to be replaced. Josh Hader and Corey Knebel still warming up in the Brewers bullpen. One ball, no strike count. Swing and a miss, counts 1-1. Tatis Jr. entered play with the highest average on the Padres team. He's been a sensational player ever since being called up. Got called up last year, got to start almost every game at shortstop for the Padres. But now this season, he's still producing. Has a healthy balance of good batting average, strong amount of home runs, and decent amount of RBIs. Tatis Jr. in a 2-2 count against David Phelps. Tatis Jr. right now represents the potential tying run. Juan Lagares is in scoring position out at second. 2-2 pitch. Broken bat. Tough play for Phelps. Picks it up, flips to SMOAK. Tatis Jr. out at first. That's the second out at the bottom of the 8th. And Juan Lagares on that play able to advance from second to third. I'll watch this again, see where that was. Didn't look too far inside. He just hit the wrong part of the barrel on it. Perhaps on the label. But 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Now here's Tommy Pham. Pham homered last inning. It was the first and only run that the Padres have scored so far. And another home run here would tie the game for the Padres. Garrett Richards responsible for all 3 Brewers runs that scored. Freddie Peralta responsible for 1. That slow counts 1-1. So unless the Padres can tie the game, which is likely, it's not unreasonable for that to happen, but right now Garrett Richards is in line for the loss. And Freddie Peralta is in line for the win. And Tommy Pham was waving Juan Lagares home, but Lagares didn't bite. So no wild pitch. Lagares still on third, and it's a hitter's count on Tommy Pham, 3-1. Well, more danger looming. The next batters in the Padres order are dangerous. Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer. That's ball 4. David Phelps. He has been enabled for replacement. And yeah, he will be taken out. Here comes Josh Hader. Hader making his 34th appearance of the year. Has an ERA of 2.78 and 32 in a third innings pitch. He started the year as closer for the Brewers because Corey Knebel was on the injured list. But with Knebel back, Knebel the official closer, and Josh Hader is the setup pitcher. But a dangerous spot here for the Brewers. Manny Machado up to the plate. The tying run for the Padres is on first base in the form of Tommy Pham. Juan Lagares is the runner on third. It seems that Hader will pitch to Machado. That's ball 1. 96 from Hader, who's been known for having a high-velocity fastball and a hard-breaking slider. 1 ball, no strike pitch. That foul, the count 1-1. Manny Machado made his debut with the Baltimore Orioles in 2012, became an instant sensation. Naturally a shortstop, but played third base regularly for the Orioles. They had J.J. Hardy consistently playing shortstop. But in 2018, got to play shortstop. Got traded to the Dodgers from the Orioles, where he played short because Corey Seager was hurt. And when he signed with the Padres in 2019, he became their third baseman. That's deep to left, and that ball's gone! It's gone! He homered! Oh, a devastating blow for the Brewers. Manny Machado's 23rd home run of the season gives the Padres a 4-3 lead. And it's the bottom of the 8th inning. Machado has had success in his career off left-handers more often than righties. But Hader, one of the elite closers, one of the elite late-inning pitchers in all of baseball, but this time he serves one up to Machado. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. It's now a Padres 1-run lead, and here's Eric Hosmer. Takes strike 1. David Phelps responsible for 2 of those 3 earned runs. Josh Hader responsible for the other. So Freddie Peralta gave up 1 earned run through 6+ innings, struck out 10 batters, and he will get a no decision. Garrett Richards also off the hook. Garrett Richards will not get a decision in this game. And Hader right now in line for the loss if his team can't come back in the top of the 9th inning. That foul, the count's still 1-2. Freddie Peralta was coming into the 7th inning with a no-hitter. And his potential no-hit bid turns into a no decision. Upstairs counts 2-2. The Padres won game 1 of this series yesterday, 1-0. The Brewers had a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. A home run was hit by Tommy Pham. That made it 3-1, and Manny Machado just hit a 3-run home run to make it 4-3. Swing and a miss. But Josh Hader ends the bottom of the 8th inning with a strikeout of Eric Hosmer, but the damage has been done. Manny Machado hit this solo home run. Excuse me, not the solo home run. It was a 3-run home run. It's 4-3. The Padres lead the Brewers. And here comes one of the best in the business at closing out games. It's Kirby Yates, making his 40th appearance of the season. Has 32 saves and 34 opportunities. And if he can complete this save, he will tie the league leaders for total saves. Craig Kimbrell and Giovanni Gallegos right now have 33 saves, which tops the National League. Yates had a breakout year last year, earned the closer's job for the Padres. And in this All-Star game, he earned the save. Got to pitch in the 9th inning, and he closed out the National League's first All-Star win since 2012. Swing and a miss, counts 1-1. Ryan Braun 0 for 3 in this game. Even count on him, 1 ball and 1 strike. And now it's 1-2. Sure, the Padres fans here are enjoying the comeback. They seem destined to win with their star closer on the mound. That fouled off. The count's still 1-2 on Braun. 1 ball, 2 strike count. That fouled off. The count's still 1-2. Yates throwing in the mid-90s.
Ball.
2 ball, 2 strike count. BRAUN
Ball, 2 strikes.
working his leadoff plate appearance well. That's fouled off. The count's still 2-2. BRAUN extending this plate appearance. Here comes pitch number 8 from Kirby Yates. Strike 3 called, and Yates wins the 8-pitch battle. He gets a strikeout.
The batter, the second baseman, Keston.
That pitch was right over the middle of the plate. BRAUN just looked frozen. That's out number 1. Here's Keston Hiura, who's walked a couple times in 3 plate appearances. That ripped into left center field. That's going to fall. The outfield was in no doubles defense, but that splits the gap well. And Hiura will get into second base. With a 1-out double, that puts the potential tying run in scoring position for the Brewers.
Number 12, Justin Smoak.
Well, now Padres fans holding their breath. This game has gone back and forth late. The Brewers scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning on an Orlando Arcia suicide squeeze. And then a 2 RBI single from Freddie Peralta. Padres got their first run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tommy Pham hit a solo home run. And then in the bottom of the 8th inning with 2 outs, Manny Machado hit a 3-run home run to make it 4-3.
0-2.
Now the Brewers threatening to score again. 1-out runner in scoring position. So their bottom of the order coming up. But even with their bottom of the order coming up, they have an all-star from 2020 batting scheduled to bat next, Omar Narvaez. And Justin Smoak has a hit in this game in one of his previous at-bats as well. That foul, the count's still 0-2. Yates has had to work. He had to work for his 1 out he got in this half inning. Then he gave up a double to Keston Hiura. Now another prolonged plate appearance here from Justin Smoak. Inside, counts 1-2. One ball, 2 strike count. Inside, count even now 2-2. Man, these Brewers hitters are staying disciplined and making Yates work for this save. Even count. Jeez, he fouled that pitch off. That's pretty impressive. That was a high bait pitch. Smoak did take the bait, but he got a piece of the bat on the ball. Count still even 2-2. Outside, that runs the count full 3-2. Omar Narvaez is on deck. Full count pitch coming from Yates. Swing and a miss. Kirby Yates wins the second prolonged battle.
Now batting, the catcher.
Off-speed pitch. That was dangerous, too. That was a dangerous location. But Smoak can't hit it. Swings right through it. And so the Brewers have 1 out to work with. Omar Narvaez up to the plate. He walked once, but 0 for 2 in 3 plate appearances. He hit a triple yesterday. The Brewers could use a triple here. The potential tying run in scoring position at second base in the form of Keston Hiura. Hiura doubled off Yates. However, Yates got Ryan Braun and Justin Smoak to strike out. And now Narvaez down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs, top of the 9th. A tense moment here at Petco Park. Got him swinging. Sound the bell. Let everyone know that the Padres have won this game. 4-3 the final score. A well-pitched battle from Garrett Richards and Freddie Peralta through the first 6 innings. And then innings 7 and 8 saw some offense from both teams, but the Padres end up sneaking away with a win. 4-3 the final score. Well, this was a well-pitched game, and this was a healthy balance of quality pitching and then some clutch and exhilarating offense. 4-3 the final score.
The final line score for our ball game tonight.
Padres came out on top. Quick scoring summary for you. We'll start with the fact that Freddie Peralta struck out 10 batters through 6 innings and had a no-hitter going into the 7th. And that no-hitter was ended by Tommy Pham, who hit a solo home run. But we'll start with the top of the 7th inning, because the Brewers scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th. Orlando Arcia successfully laid down a suicide squeeze bunt, which drove in a run. The bases were loaded, so with Arcia bunting into that suicide squeeze, which got him out at first, the Brewers had a 1-0 lead, 2 runners in scoring position. Then Freddie Peralta stayed in the game, and he hit a 2 RBI single, which scored 2 more runs. It was 3-0 Brewers going into the bottom of the 7th. Pham hit his solo home run, which made it 3-1, and then the Brewers went scoreless in the top of the 8th. The Padres got a few runners on, and with 2 outs and runners on the corners, Manny Machado hit a 3-run home run, which made it 4-3. And then Kirby Yates earned the save in the top of the 9th inning, keeping the Brewers scoreless despite letting up an extra base hit. Yates earned the save, his 33rd of the year. He's now tied with Craig Kimbrell and Giovanni Gallegos for the most saves among National League pitchers. Matt Strahm got the win. He pitched an inning, but he was on the mound when the Padres took the lead, so he earns the win by pitching an inning out of the bullpen. Josh Hader pitched a third of an inning, but he gave up the biggest hit for the Padres in this game. He gave up the home run to Manny Machado, and he got the loss in this one. And Kirby Yates, 1 inning pitched, struck out 3 batters, gave up 1 hit, earned the save. And that pretty much does it here from Petco Park. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. This game and all of our games are brought to you by MLB The Show 20. My name's Nicholas Callis, saying so long from Petco Park again. The final score, the Padres 4 and the Brewers 3.